very little time there. That's going to be later on. First and foremost, our circulation and vein support for healthy legs, feet and calves. Andrew, always a wonderful time to do it. And we covered a lot of areas, from restless leg to hemorrhoids to lots of subjects. Well, I mean, real life.
And it's funny, I didn't elaborate on the whole discussion of hemorrhoids because, again, this is not a medical product. And what hemorrhoids basically are, we have blood vessels throughout our body, through all the tissues of our body. I just talked about that every single cell in our body is responsible for its own energy production. In other words, we have to deliver oxygen and nutrients to those cells as well, so that each of those cells can do the work that's involved with producing that energy. And in other words, circulation is the critical role, that the critical piece of our systems that's delivering that oxygen, and it's the red blood cells that are carrying that oxygen. Those red blood cells are present in our circulation. It's being delivered at a level, at the capillary level. But when we think about the tissues in our body and the circulation and nourishing them, we really don't think about how that is what affects the enlargement of the tissues in our legs.
Right.
That when our circulation in our legs isn't as healthy as it could be, those blood vessels aren't as toned as they used to be, that's when fluid seeps out. That's when those tissues get enlarged. Now, I was saying this last night, that even if we are at our ideal weight, have perfectly healthy circulation, that if we looked and measured the circumference of our ankles and calves at the age of 20 versus the age of 40 versus the age of 60, we're seeing changes, even if we're perfectly healthy. It's just the normal, natural changes. But then when we also consider what's happening over the course of our lifetime, that the majority of us, 75% of us roughly, are obese or overweight, that further conspires to enlarge those tissues. And those blood vessels that are basically ensure they have to be in contact with all the cells in our body to deliver those vital components, that fine circulation changes as we get older, and that's the enlargement of tissues. The tone of those blood vessels change, and that's the enlarged blood vessels we see in our legs. So I'm sort of graphically seeing in my mind, I'm not sure if I'm describing it adequately, but as we get older, that very fine circulation, especially in our feet, ankles, and calves, given the nature of their location and given the nature of their challenges, our heart is up here. Our heart is pumping blood down into our feet, ankles, and calves, nourishing the largest mass of musculature on our body. Lots of blood is going down there, carrying oxygen and nutrients. Waste products build up down there that have to come back up. Because remember, the blood supply, it's a circulation, it's a circuit, it's going in a circle. So if that blood is not coming back, it's building up down there, guess what we experience? We experience an enlargement of tissues, we experience swelling, enlargement of the blood vessels, and that's what we all experience. Because the way our body tries to get that blood back up from our lower extremities is by pushing it from behind, by sending more blood down. So effectively, it's like a pump. It should be expected that over time, over a lifetime, those tissues will enlarge and basically inflate. That fluid will seep out of those blood vessels and our feet swell, our ankles and calves swell. It is a basic fact of life. It's a basic fact of aging, but it doesn't have to be experienced in the same way, and that's what this product speaks to. The reviews are almost consistently perfect. Not consistently good, but consistently perfect, and that's because it follows science, and that science is very clear in the comprehensive benefits that this product provides.
So, and we covered a lot of it in the last hour, and we'll do as much as we can now. Price-wise, clearly the best deal of the entire year is tonight, or today rather. $60 is normally $33. Today it's under $20, you save $13. $180 is normally $75. Today under $50, you save $25. $360, normally $130. Today less than $80, you save $50. $750, which is a special size that Andrew does just for this day, is normally a $250 price tag. Today it's $129.90 on 5 flex, so incredibly affordable, and that saves you $120. I wrote it down earlier when I was reading through some of the reviews, and I know we mentioned it briefly in the last hour, but the words of miracle and life-changing are not things that we take lightly. But beyond anything, Andrew, I found it inspiring how passionate people were. I mean, these weren't 3-line reviews. These were like essays.
I'll grab some, because we've only gone through about 15 or 20 of the reviews. I have a couple of hundred here. And what I want to do, I keep saying this, what I want to do on our reviews for various products, because all of those reviews are probably in a Word file somewhere.
Sure.
So I would scan the Word file for words like that, where I would say in the 2,000 plus reviews, just the concept of wouldn't want to be without it is probably mentioned a few hundred times.
Right.
I bet we'd see the word miracle 50 to 100 times.
Yep.
Life-changing, probably a couple of hundred times. And these are not words that I might be speaking for everyone out there. I don't think people offer them up just willy-nilly, just arbitrarily. I think these are words that, when that review is being written, they're truly heartfelt words.
Yep.
And you read the reviews, and that's why I encourage everyone to do so. You get a sense of sort of the unanimity of experience here. And I said before, if there's anything our country has demonstrated, certainly in my lifetime, has been a capacity to disagree, maybe in the whole planet, a capacity to disagree. And maybe that's just human nature, that we all have our own opinions, we all have our own experience, and it's our way. If there's one thing that my products, because it goes to the one thing that we all share, that common thread, is our internal biochemistry. So my products go to that fundamental biochemistry. They're not drugs or medicines.
Right.
They just go to the common anatomy and physiology we all share. And that's why I think they're so unanimously reviewed. I think the reason why they're so passionately reviewed isn't just because they work so well. It's just that I think other vitamins people have taken over the course of their lifetime have been remarkably disappointing. And I think that's the unique attribute of my company, is we only make products that follow the science. We don't make products that other companies are quite happy to make because their customers are interested in them. But I'm only interested in making products that will deliver benefits and get the kinds of reviews you see here.
And we have such a myriad of different reviews from people of all different ages saying different things. I don't like the way my legs look. I don't like the appearance of the veins. I don't like the way my legs feel. I go to bed at night and that restless feeling. I don't like it. My feet are swollen. My ankles are swollen. What can I do? I can't fit into those shoes anymore. It's these same common problems that so many of us go through that we're looking for a solution. And here it is. It's right here. This is the one that Andrew's formulated specially for us, better than it's ever been. The price per caps, as Andrew's talked a lot about, I mean, we're down to about 17 cents. So bear that in mind as well. It's unbelievable.
No, when you think that this is dramatically less expensive than when I introduced it almost 20 years ago, and when you see the quantity and volume of the reviews, it's compelling. And a lot of people who even have taken the product, they didn't think there was anything they could do. They didn't even really think there was anything going on. Right. But I think what happens, the aging process is a persistent and kind of a pernicious process. It's this sneaky process that happens so slowly that we might not even notice some of the things that are problematic. And I think that certainly goes for, or we might not know there's anything we can do about it, certainly goes for the circulation in our lower extremity. And I just grabbed some more reviews, and I felt like we'll end up reading probably by the end of today, probably 25 reviews, and I probably have 300 of them there.
A drop in the ocean.
No, but it's so environmentally, I don't want to be wasting the charts. So we could always read them in the future. But so this is just, I just grabbed, I think this was like 101 through 110. Really helps the cramps. My daughter recommended these as she also uses them. My husband would get up with leg cramps and walk them off so many nights. I ordered these and put them in his pill case for over a month. He didn't think much of them until I forgot to put them in the case daily. And after a few days, he was walking off cramps each night again until I realized what I did. Needless to say, they are back on his schedule, and we will not make the mistake of being without them again.
Wow.
They really help him. Stop the discomfort. I'm on my feet all day long, as many as 10 hours a day, and had a lot of discomfort and swelling in my legs. I saw this product on HSN and figured I had nothing to lose. After 2 days of taking this product, I was without discomfort in the legs. The swelling in my feet and legs is way down, almost to the point of being non-existent, and I can get through my day much easier. Thank you for such a great product. I will be ordering more soon. Won't be without again. I've been taking this for about 12 years. Wow. I used to be on my feet all day long. It helped tremendously. Then I changed jobs and wasn't standing all day. I still had a good supply left, so I kept taking it. Then I ran out. About 2 weeks later, my legs started bothering me. I couldn't figure out why. Then I remembered I wasn't taking the circulation and vein support. After about 3 weeks, my legs don't ache anymore. I will never be without again. Andrew, please keep making this. From Shelley in Florida. Pleasantly surprised, won't go without. There's a common thread here. Cankles run in my family. It can be especially bad in the hot summer months, which we had many of in Oregon this year. I've found circulation vein support to make a marked difference with this. Additionally, I have had knee surgery and both knees have issues. I've noticed that I can actually see my knees again. Wow. There is much less swelling. Initially, I purchased the 60 count, 30-day supply, but plan on ordering a larger size next time. I wanted to try it out first. I anticipate never going without this product. From Magnolia in Oregon. Amazing, a daily must. I bought the largest bottle the first time and just bought my second bottle. I ran out for a week and won't do that again. I wanted to know if I would be able to tell that my circulation was worse when not taking it. Proven fact for me, circulation vein support supports your circulation. You will have less swelling and discomfort if you take this product. It is amazing. From Cynthia in Alabama. Happy legs. Actually, I'm kicking myself with those happy feet. Why didn't I try this sooner? Another common thread. I reorder numerous products from Andrew and had heard this mentioned before but hadn't tried it. But I'm so happy I finally did. My leg issue is gone. I have trouble sometimes falling asleep. And when that happens, after 10 to 15 minutes, my leg nerves start jumping and keep me awake. Common issue with restless legs in bed. Yeah. But since taking Andrew's circulation and vein support, my legs are nice and relaxed. So even on nights when I can't drift off quickly, they don't bother me. Excellent product, and thank you. Recommend this product 1,000%. Again, this is, I think, the fifth one. Helped with hemorrhoids, too. I was suffering from hemorrhoids discomfort. I was praying, and God reminded me about these vitamins. I took them and felt so much better right away. I thank God for Andrew and this product. God bless, Linda, Illinois. Now, that's a good partner.
Yeah, the best.
He's my free marketing budget. I don't have a marketing budget, so I need to have someone helping me. So, Wonder Supplement. I bought this for my mom, who has veins that she says burn and burst. She has varicose veins and her legs bother her nonstop. She was skeptical but desperate, so she tried them. She was nearly a month into them and felt no difference, but kept taking them because I bought them for her, and she figured she would finish them and not get them again. Well, at about the 1 month mark, her legs began to feel wonderful. When she ran out, her leg problems came back. Just as before, she placed an order and very quickly was feeling better again. She has not been without them since. That was a couple of years ago. Thank you, Andrew. We'll do one or two more. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Andrew, I can't thank you enough for this product. I should look how many times the word thank you shows up. I was skeptical at first, but man, did that change fast. The first day I took it, I felt a slight difference in my legs. The second day, even more. And now it has been a week, and I will never, ever stop taking it. Wow. I can walk without that heavy feeling and no more swollen legs or feet. Thank you so much. I recommend this product to everyone. From Liz in New York. Best stuff ever made. I've been having problems for years. I ordered this product thinking I would probably send it back. And you're welcome to.
Fair enough.
But you won't want to.
Right.
But in 2 days, I could tell the difference. The discomfort became less and less, and I could stand longer and walk farther without discomfort. I will never be without this product. I'm going to try more of Andrew's products now that I know they work. From Renee, thank you, and God bless.
That was what, maybe 12, 13 reviews that we just went through? And 10. But they were long reviews. I mean, that is what it is. I mean, for a lot of us, though, I think we get so caught up in our everyday lives. And even though the evidence is there, and maybe Andrew's speaking to so many of us of problems that we're experiencing every day, that unless you do it now and say, okay, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to try it, then we'll forget later today, and then we've got to go deal with the kids, and we've got to think about Monday morning at work, and so we just keep going. We don't have to live with these common complaints. We don't have to feel this way. We're all looking for some great answers. What's amazing about this is that it's all natural. There are no side effects. It's not heavy on the stomach. It's not a drug. I mean, think about that. Andrew just read all of those reviews saying it works, it works, it works, it works. And this is not a drug. I mean, Andrew, that is what we're all searching for, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it's nothing akin to a drug at all. It's just something that supports tissues that are challenged. The blood vessels in the legs, for the reasons I described before. I mean, gravity wants everything that goes down to stay down.
Right.
Our heart is a very powerful organ, pumping all of that blood and fluid. And remember, it's not just pumping it through our large arteries. It then has to go into these tiny little veins and venules and also then into our capillaries. So it's trying to get all of that blood to visit all of those tissues and deliver oxygen and nutrients and carry away waste products. But all of that force of circulation, all of that pressure the heart exerts, it also enlarges those tissues. It also forces eventually over the course of time in our lifetime, fluid seeps out, the tissues enlarge. So if there's a natural tool that supports the health of those tissues, and that's exactly what this does, that's what those reviews are. And I've read twice today, I've read the scientific quotes. I read it on Diosmin with hesperidin, where I read probably 15, 20 quotes from a dozen different medical journals talking about its rapid, comprehensive mode of action, its consistent results, its rapid results. What I was going to do here, there's another ingredient we added about 5 years ago, butcher's broom. I'll just read something very quickly here on butcher's broom. And we doubled the levels of butcher's broom. Butcher's broom could be another product. But instead, we just want to make this an even better product. So we took a product with more than a half a century of use in Europe. We enhanced its activity. So butcher's broom, I won't even try to read that. It's drug discovery in German. What is that? Arzneimittelforschung?
Oh, you did it. Very good.
The beneficial effect of, with no German accent, the beneficial effect of butcher's broom, which has been well established for centuries in the pharmacopoeia of the Mediterranean countries, is now clinically established by its scientifically proven pharmacodynamic properties and clinical actions. Again, that's some pretty strong scientific language. From phlebology, that's a word studying the study of blood. Butcher's broom enhances venous tone by promoting vasoconstriction through a direct effect and by increasing blood flow. It sounds like we're reading the same reviews for Diosmin. Angiology. Butcher's broom enhances venous tone by promoting smooth muscle contraction in veins through a direct alpha-adrenergic effect, a mechanism of action that differs from other options, from drug options. International angiology. The microcirculatory space is protected by the effect of butcher's broom extract on return circulation and by the action of hesperidin and vitamin C. Guess what? We also have hesperidin and vitamin C in the product. The reciprocal potential of the effects of these active principles is responsible for the efficacy on venous return. In another study with butcher's broom, hesperidin, and ascorbic acid, by the way, we add vitamin C too, a significant improvement in heavy legs, leg discomfort, cramps, and afternoon edema, swelling, was demonstrated, as well as an improvement in vein health following use. Could keep going on with butcher's broom. Then this is on Diosmin. The efficacy was clearly demonstrated with a rapid improvement of functional signs in the first months, being maintained till the end of the study. The reduction of ankle and calf circumferences, getting smaller, is probably linked to decrease in plasma filtration through capillary walls. This fact confirms the positive role of Diosmin with hesperidin on tissue microcirculation. The only thing that I possess here to a larger extent than all those positive reviews is positive science.
Right.
So it's kind of fun to have a product that you have your choice of the experience of others, thousands of experiences, or the experience of scientists. And we have here at least hundreds of quotes.
So as we kind of bring this to a close, don't forget, pricing-wise, if you're choosing that larger $750, there is a $10 bonus buy, so you get a further $10 off for each additional one. $129 saves you $120. It's the only day of the year that Andrew does this, so if you were ever going to buy it in a larger size, today would be the day, and it's not like it's a small percentage off. I mean, it's tremendously discounted. So if you would like to try it, if anything we've said has hit a chord with you, then obviously we would love for you to be the next recipient of one of Andrew's best sellers. It's something to feel proud of, and as Andrew talks about the all solar paneled facility in Nevada, to how everything is done to the most precise degree. The formulations, the quality, the capacity of everything. Remember, when you order this is being made right now. It's not that you're ordering something that sat on a shelf and sat there for months on end. It's done just for you. And Andrew, as we've talked a lot about, you cut out the middleman, as it were.
Plus, this is absolutely cut out the middleman. We're a vertically integrated company, and what's interesting about a product like this, I suspect we didn't start making this product until a couple of weeks ago. We were so busy producing Secure for that Today Special.
Last week.
And plus, again, this is a special formula for this event.
Right.
So unlike products that have to make a journey from some contract manufacturer, then to the marketing company who's going to maybe offer it, to then get to a warehouse somewhere, that then might get to a retailer or internet company or who knows where or who knows how, this product makes a simple journey from my factory, where it is entirely created, entirely using solar energy, to one of 2 warehouses that HSN has. And when I arrived at HSN 22 years ago, one of the things that I required, their warehouses at that time were not temperature controlled.
Right.
My products, I insist they be temperature controlled. You might do whatever you want when it gets to your house. I want you to know these products were appropriately handled before they get to your house. So it's a product that's and then when it gets to HSN's warehouse, it's probably being shipped to you in general less than 2 weeks later.
Stay right there.
Quickly.
One last presentation is happening tonight. We're going to go on, talking of journeys, we're going to go on one more journey over to this side. Right.